sensors that maybe pick up RF energy or that pick up different microphones. You can use that to do all kinds of neat things, and it's just really cool to nerd out and to get into all the tech that goes into it. Even if we look at the things that are on this desk, and we'll talk about things in the last 6 months that this base has done, and you're going to hear about all the aircraft, and it's amazing, but when we move away from the aircraft, you look at this is a 3D printed piece that we did test fitting on. So we did what's called additive manufacturing, and so a 3D printer printed this with plastic. And this isn't the actual part that went into the aircraft, but what it did is it made sure that our design was right. So instead of spending a ton of time and a ton of money printing or milling the actual real piece, we could use this, put it in the aircraft, make sure everything fit exactly like it was supposed to, and if it did, then we knew our design was right. If we move on to COVID, when COVID came down, we had an issue. We needed to get masks to people as quickly as possible. And so we started 3D printing masks, and we actually joined a group of people across the Air Force, the DoD, the Department of Defense, as well as the civilian world, and started looking at different mask designs. And somebody would put out a design, they would throw it online, we'd all print it, and we'd check it out. And then we'd say, okay, if we made this change or this tweak, and this is where design really came into play, we could make something better. As soon as we found a better version, we would push that out, and now everybody had version 2. 200, 300 versions later, and those weren't all our versions, they were the community's versions, all joining together to build the best mask. We all learned, how do we print things, how do we make things flexible, how do we fit different body sizes and face types, and so that was a huge way that we were able to use some of these tools just in an event that happened. This is one of our coolest pieces. It's just we have a nice 3D printer, and actually what we can start doing is you can change the complement of the plastic, and so we can make the top of this structure flexible while the bottom is firm and rigid. And it allows us to do all kinds of cool things in design. Also, if you were to try to mill this or make this in an actual machine, it'd be really difficult with the lattice work and all the holes and everything that's in here. I mean, how do you dig into that with drills? It's almost impossible. But you can create a structure that's just as strong as a full block with half the material or a quarter of the material in half the time. Even when we get to things like this watch, it's a standard GPS watch. Inside, a lot of technology to read heart rate, or my location. With that, you add that to some sort of software stack with a little bit of artificial intelligence and what they'll call predictive analytics. And so a lot of graphs. And you can start to see, am I slowing down? Am I speeding up? Is my heart working overtime today? Could I be getting sick? And those are also things that we're testing out on this base, all using different forms of STEM. And so everything you're learning today is going to allow you to branch out into so many other career fields. And really, I can't think of one that won't be influenced or won't be made better by the science, technology, engineering, and math. And then we add a little bit of that art, so STEAM and STEM. We can do some amazing things. And so I'm really excited to see everything that's gone on this week. I've been watching the last couple days, and it's been great. And I hope you guys have a great time. Thank you.
There was nobody better than us. The problem was just about everybody outranked us. And the really sad thing is we weren't even airmen yet. We started as Army, but we were different. The road in front of us was a runway. We were all about the future. We were young. So the future most of us were concerned about was our own. That's how it is when you start out. What's next for me? How do I get promoted? Where am I going? What do I do? What the Air Force wants you to do is lead. If you're an Airman Basic, lead yourself. From Airman all the way up to Chief. Look at that insignia on your uniform. Those aren't stripes and chevrons. They're wings to learn with, arrows to keep you pointed in the right direction, and stars to reach for. Aim high. If you're doing it right, you're constantly becoming a better version of you. The funny thing is, the better you get, the more you learn about yourself, the more you find out it's not about you. Rank is not a reward, it's a challenge. Those marks don't show how far you've come. They show how many more airmen you get to take with you. Wingmen, leaders, warriors. That's who we are. A lot of people try to tell civilians that being in the Air Force is a lot like a job in the real world. The world doesn't get any more real than this. We took an oath to our country. We're airmen. You might be a logistics expert in the Air Force, but you're an airman first. You're not just an intelligence analyst. You're an airman. You're not working at a place called the Air Force while you get a degree. You are an airman. Doesn't matter if you're an A1C, Tech Sergeant, or Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. We're airmen. We lead the way by showing the way. We earn respect because we've been there. And when we're suddenly supervisors, we take care of our people because we've been there. Officers are required to be leaders. Enlisted are expected to be leaders. There are plenty of people who outrank us, but there is nobody better than us. We are the future of this Air Force, and the future is where we'll make history. Aim high, Airmen.
One of the most enlightening things when I look through the National Defense Strategy is it talked about how for the last 10 to 20 years we've been focused on the global war on terror. But now we are moving forward focused on strategic competition. The NDS then states that in order to make this a reality, our Air Force must modernize our key capabilities. Every day, our test professionals are working to advance autonomous systems, C4ISR, space, cyberspace, and every capability we push downrange to the joint warfighter. We built sandboxes, both virtually and physically, that allow our airmen to truly push these capabilities to the limit. We won't push any capability downrange to the warfighter unless we know exactly where it's going to fail, exactly where its limits are, and we have confidence that it is ready for the rigors of combat. This is where it's okay to fail. This is where we learn. This is test.
One of the Department of Defense's most important objectives is to defend the homeland from attack. This statement frames the battlefield in which our security forces airmen live each and every day. By working together with partners in industry, our defenders are able to couple emerging technology with their operational mission to see what works and what doesn't. We can take a piece of commercial hardware or advanced prototype and see if it holds up to the heat, the wind, the sand, and the ops tempo that the defenders require. We then capture those lessons and push them to the rest of the Air Force to ensure that no one else makes the same mistakes that we do, and that every unit benefits from everything we learn. This is where we try. This is where we win. This is test.
When your job is constant vigilance, you can't help but see things. The Air Force started the Air Police in 1947. Let me tell you, we've seen things. You don't know the true meaning of being between a rock and a hard place until you realize you have no choice but to apprehend a fellow airman. We've stood at gates and checked 1,000,001 IDs. We've gone to homes on domestic violence calls, people threatening to hurt themselves, break-ins. We've responded to active shooters on base. We've kept our rifles pointed at the horizon night and day with nuclear missiles behind us. We've guarded Air Force One. We've lost people in combat and at home. We've been attacked for being Americans. We've been thanked for being Americans. Through war and peacetime, deployed and stateside, we see it all. Our fellow airmen at their best and at their worst. They're most vulnerable. Firm compassion and respect. That's what you do. This is real life, and we're all human. And because we're all human, there will be chaos in the world. Eternal vigilance is the price we pay for freedom. Everything that moves or makes a sound in the night outside the wire is a suicide bomber, or a sniper, or something we can't even imagine. And everyone inside the wire are airmen, safe, asleep, and depending on us. We're trained to be ready for anything, always. We are the first line of defense. Defensor Fortis, Defenders of airmen, defenders of our assets, defenders of our core values. And if there's one thing we never have to defend, it's our place in this Air Force. We're cops, guardians of the guardians, dog handlers, weapons instructors, security forces, defenders. We will still bust you for speeding. We will search your car no matter who you are. And we will protect you and your family and keep you safe inside the fence. On convoys, on the flight line, we will stand our post and do our duties because you are our brothers and sisters. We're responsible for you, every single one of you. We watch like hunters. We listen like parents. Our best days are the ones people make jokes about. Days where nothing happens. Absolutely nothing. And on those quiet days when nothing happens, you're welcome. Aim high, Airman.
What we're doing is some helicopter training where the dogs and handler teams will fly in from Daggett and they'll fly here and then we're on a mission on both narcotics and explosive detection. It's not natural for a dog to want to get on a helicopter. There's a lot of vibration, a lot of noise, and it acclimates the dogs to that.
So we were invited out today by Fort Irwin's military working dogs, and along with the Marines military working dogs and Nelson Air Force Base military working dogs. So we've been out here to do some detection with them, do some joint training out this mock village, as you can see. It's a very good training opportunity for us that we don't always get to see, but it's always good to be involved with it as much as we can.
I think it went really well. I think some dogs got a little bit nervous and then they were able to still come out and do their job. Some dogs handled it like they've done it their entire lives. So I think it was really beneficial. Every single base has different trainers. They have different knowledge and experience, different deployments, different dogs. So we're able to bounce ideas off each other, and we can have ideas when other handlers might be struggling. We can trade what our knowledge is, and it's a really good resource.
We never claimed to be heroes. Not when people asked us what we did in the war. We were just doing our jobs. Proud to be airmen. We never dropped a bomb. We weren't tail gunners. Some of us served without ever even touching an aircraft. When they asked us what we flew, we'd smile and say we flew deaths and shot down headaches. When you're part of the bigger picture, you might never see combat, but you might save a life. A chaplain, a doctor. Mostly though, we keep this Air Force functioning. Every base is like a city. Airmen live here, a lot of times with families. And we're the ones that keep these cities up and running. We support the mission, stateside or overseas. We're supplied and contracted, finance, acquisition, medical, fuels, science and technology, childcare, and cooks. Guard, reserve, active duty, and civilians. The outside world will call you a hero just because you wear the uniform or took an oath. That's respect, and that's fine. But we're not fighter pilots. We're not special ops, and that's fine too. We're not PJs pulling wounded out of live firefights. We're here for our country, and we're there for our fellow airmen. Always. If you're one of our airmen, and you need 25,000 gallons of fuel to appear out of thin air in the Arctic Circle, if you're losing your mind with worry because you can't get an email from your husband or wife, if you're sick and shivering, or if you need food, if you need your God in a hurry, if you need somebody to go above and beyond, to move mountains, step up, be a hero, and make it happen, No problem. Just doing our jobs. Aim high, Airman.
We weren't the kind to go looking for the spotlight. We didn't need our hands held. We did our jobs just fine without getting pats on the head. Of course, when something went wrong, or something got busted, yeah, that's when the spotlight found us. The Air Force never did manage to build a plane that would fix itself. We're maintainers, flightline warriors. And when it's not hot, miserable, dirty work, it's cold, miserable, dirty work. We love it. We hate it, but we love it. Because we love this country. We love making things right. We love the challenge. We love the pressure, the deadlines, the long hours. If it was easy, we wouldn't get that rush of accomplishment. We live for that rush, and we get it every day. With our hands, we make that jet fly again. We turn a bunch of metal and circuits back into a missile. We're inside these machines, in the cockpits, in the landing gear, the munitions, the engines, every button every pilot ever pushed. That's us. You think a B-52 has a lot of complicated wires? You've never seen how we're wired. We're part of a team no one on the outside will ever understand. You won't get it until you're in it, until you're one of us. That's our world inside the red line. You enter our world where we tell you. People try to tell us all the time that our jobs are just as important as the pilots. It's not a competition. If we don't do our jobs right, people get hurt. Of course our jobs are important. Do the unsung heroes need to be sung about every now and then? Maybe. But don't sing too long, because with all due respect, we've got work to do. We'll roll our eyes and then we'll roll up our sleeves. We'll get it done, because if we don't get it done, it doesn't get done. We know we're good. We don't want other people to know we're good. We just want them to know that we know. The satisfaction we get, we keep on the inside. We are a special breed, maintainers. We're a team, crazy loyal to our country and tirelessly devoted to our mission. We pull 12s, we work nights and weekends, we don't sleep, and we stick together. If it breaks, we fix it, no matter what. We are the men and women who keep this Air Force flying. We are the driving force. We're the glue, we're the sweat, we're the wrenches in the coffee. And if you want to know the truth, there's only one reason maintainers couldn't fix the whole world. Can't fit the whole world into a hangar. Aim high, Airman.
Welcome to the 412th Maintenance Squadron, home to the Mighty Dragons. We're the largest squadron in the 412th Test Wing, with over 600 highly skilled civilian and military personnel assigned. The squadron's command team is comprised of the Director, Maintenance Operations Officer, Superintendent, and First Sergeant. The squadron's command support staff and production managers are charged with managing the daily activities of 7 distinct flights to meet the needs of the center of the aerospace testing universe. The Aerospace Ground Equipment Flight manages the maintenance requirements on 116 different types of equipment, over 1,100 assets in all. The flight's administrative team guide the daily actions of 5 major sections: inspections, maintenance, powered munition trailers, production support, and servicing, pickup, and delivery across 300,000 acres on Edwards Air Force Base. The fabrication flight has the capacity to repair, manufacture, or treat nearly every aircraft structural item on the flight line, even from scratch. The flight's administrative staff finely tunes the interactions of 4 sections: structures, machine and welding, non-destructive inspection, and a very robust logistics support section. The heavy maintenance flight performs the in-depth inspection and repair of major aircraft systems and components. The flight's administrative personnel oversee the inspection, fuel maintenance, wheel and tire, hydraulics, and transient alert sections, as well as the installation's primary aircraft crash and emergency response teams. The component repair flight's mission includes maintaining the specialized systems necessary to sustain the Wing's aircraft fleet, while also supporting sister services and allied nations. The flight's administrative team oversees 8 sections: avionics, electronic warfare, electromechanical, egress, armament, battery shop, liquid oxygen equipment, and tow target, restoring an average of 600 equipment items annually. The propulsion flight completes comprehensive jet engine maintenance for 9 different aircraft types for the United States military, foreign militaries, and even NASA. The flight's administrative staff manages 4 specialized sections: jet engine intermediate maintenance, test cell, accessories, and an extensive logistics support section serving locations in 10 different states across the country. The Test Measurement and Diagnostic Equipment Flight is the 3rd largest in the Air Force, serving over 200 regional work centers across Southern California. The flight's administrative team directs technicians in 4 major sections: laboratory, production control, quality assurance, and scheduling and shipping, to ensure over 16,000 assets are available across 3 major commands. Finally, the munitions flight provides cradle-to-grave munition support for both the United States and its allied partners inside a massive 442-acre storage area. Flight administrative personnel manage 6 sections: precision-guided munitions, integrated munitions, line delivery, inspection, storage, and its own munitions control center to consistently meet the demands of the test enterprise. If it flies, rolls, or makes really big holes, the men and women of the 412th Maintenance Squadron had a hand in making it happen.
I have one of the coolest jobs in the world. I get to fix fighter jets for a living. How many 22-year-olds can say that?
My favorite part about working on this aircraft is seeing the different modifications that come out of SI and Mod Shop, seeing them applied to the aircraft, seeing them push forward to the warfighter.
Everything we do here is groundbreaking. A lot of the missions and the things that we touch here end up eventually becoming operational. They all start here, so we kind of birth a lot of the missions and techniques that they do out there in the real world.
Honestly, there's no greater feeling than seeing your jet with your name on it go up and do what it's intended to do.
What I enjoy about my job the most is the professionalism and the pride among my peers and supervision. And the most rewarding aspect for me is fixing a broken jet, seeing it fly, come back down safe, knowing that the pilot didn't have any problems, was able to go home and see his family at the end of the day.
The most rewarding aspect of it is being able to work with the engineers, and we can work out the kinks, and just knowing that, hey, when they tell us, you know, it's a good to go, the project was a success, and they send it out into the operational Air Force, it'll be easier for all my other avionics brothers and sisters to work through that system because we worked out the kinks here at Edwards.
We're down here Making those aircraft hit those blue skies feels phenomenal. Feels great to be able to see the smile on the pilot's face whenever they start the engines up and take off with them. I love what I do. I love my job. I love seeing the pilots take these aircraft to blue skies and bring them safe and sound back home.
One of the most memorable moments in my career was my first deployment to Afghanistan. Seeing the jet go up, fully loaded, and then it come back and it's completely empty. No fuel, no more bombs, no more rounds. We used everything, and that was a pretty good moment. It was like, wow, I actually contribute to the whole Air Force and to the country.
Good morning, appointment line. This is Michelle speaking. How can I help you? Yes, ma'am. Okay. May I have your last name, first name, and date of birth, please?
In your household or yourself that has pre-existing medical conditions, just as asthma, COPD, diabetes, or any immunocompromised conditions? Okay. And there's a few more questions that I need to ask you. Any travel outside the local area within the past 14 days?
Hello, ma'am. We'll bring you to the clinic.
Copy that. Please have patient report to parking spot 1 and remind them to please remain in vehicle. He will be on the vehicle. But that patient will remain in vehicle.
Okay, ma'am. So parking spot 1, it's going to be at the stop sign. You're going to take a left. See the yellow cone? Uh-huh. Okay, so you're going to go right into the yellow cone. You make sure you remain in your vehicle. Keep your face mask on, and they'll come out to you.
Perfect. Alrighty. So first I'm just going to have you put this on your finger. SpO2 27. Heart rate is 82. Then next will just be your...
Good afternoon, ma'am. How are you today? Good, good, good. All right, so text came out. I already got your vitals and everything, so everything's looking good there, so that's the good news. Any changes in the symptoms from before when we talked to you on the phone? Okay, let's go ahead and have you step out of the car so I can do my physical exam, and then we'll get your appointment started.
All right, ma'am, now that we have the swab, we're going to go ahead and take it to lab. Once we get the results, the provider will call you and let you know what those are. Hi, this is Airman Keller over from the Dirty Team. We just collected a COVID-19 swab. Could you just meet me at the cart so you can collect the swab and take it down to lab? Awesome, thanks. Bye.
Hi, my name is Edwin Ortiz with Public Health. May I speak to Sergeant Bailey? Hi, ma'am. Can I get your full name and date of birth? Alright, ma'am. The purpose of this call is I was trying to get some information from you. I was trying to get some contacts that you were with 48 hours before your symptoms developed.
Hey, thank you. Thank you.
My name is Senior Airman Trevor Grant with the 812th CES EOD flight. So EOD is explosive ordnance disposal. The idea behind what we do is we want to make a scene safe. If there's an explosive hazard, our goal is to either mitigate that hazard or get rid of said hazard. We'll also, in the technology aspect, we use a myriad of tools. We'll use X-rays, the robots that we have here. We can accomplish those missions via detonation. If there's something such as an improvised explosive device, we can dismantle, move for detonation, or we can render ordnance safe. Over the years, our robots have gotten more reliable and obviously smaller and lighter. The other technology that we've had evolve is our bomb suit is the big one that we've had evolve. The initial bomb suits are pretty big and bulky. Sitting next to me on the B-Surf here is the M-Tigger, or the Micro Tactical Ground Robot, and next to that is the F6 Alpha, which is our stateside, our on-base robot. Here at Edwards, EOD, one of the larger things that we do is we work out on the range. So there's a big testing range that we have. Test ordnance is typically dropped there. We'll go out, we clear it twice every year. Our job is basically just to make sure that there's nothing that can interfere with further tests and that the area is safe. Big part of the reason why I enjoy the job is we get to work with some interesting technology. Driving the robots is a lot of fun. Obviously blowing things up is always a plus, but the critical thinking aspect is incredibly important and incredibly rewarding. Working on a problem and actually managing to solve it is incredibly rewarding, and it's one of the greatest feelings ever. A lot of what we do here benefits the warfighter in the sense that we're helping develop the next generation of weapons and aircraft. As long as we keep doing our job here, they can continue to test and develop here, and that'll benefit the warfighter downrange later on.
Welcome to STARBASE! Come on in.
Hi, my name is Amira. I am the STARBASE director here at Edwards Air Force Base. STARBASE is a DoD STEM-funded program. We provide 25 hours of STEM education to upper elementary students. Our curriculum is aligned with Common Core state standards and NGSS. Our lessons are based on inquiry-based learning, but most of all, they are fun and engaging. Here at STARBASE, we go by call signs. Call signs are a tradition embedded by the Air Force. So I have a call sign. Call sign. What is my call sign? I can't remember my call sign. Team, help me out. What's my call sign?
It's Dory.
That's right, it's Dory. I am Dory.
Hi, my call sign is Dragonfly. I chose Dragonfly because I like the symbolism of dragonflies. To me, it means friendship. What is STEM? STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math.
Hi, my call sign is Athena, and I am one of the instructors here at STARBASE. I picked the call sign Athena after one of the characters off of a show called Battlestar Galactica. DoD STARBASE was founded in 1991 by Barbara Kozak and Rick Sims. There are 69 STARBASEs located across the country throughout different military installations. Edwards is one of the most recent, established in March of 2019.
Hey everyone, my call sign is Arwen and I'm one of the instructors here at STARBASE Edwards. I picked Arwen because I'm a huge Lord of the Rings nerd, and Arwen is an elf from the trilogy. I love elves because they have big ears just like me. During their time at STARBASE, students are able to interact with military personnel to explore careers and observe STEM applications in the real world. we have 4 3D printers. These aren't just regular printers that you print paper on. This isn't a popcorn machine either. It's a 3D printer. So right now it's printing out a 3D object, a model that we can now use. We can print things like race cars and even shuttles, or we can print something even cooler, a Baby Yoda.
This is one of our LEGO EV3 robots that we use here at STARBASE. Students use LEGO Mindstorm to code the robots for our Mars mission.
Here's another robot we use here at STARBASE Edwards. It's called Sphero Bolt. Students use the app Sphero EDU on their iPads to code their robot to move across their own putt-putt course.
One of the coolest things that students get to experience at STARBASE is PTC Creo. PTC Creo is a 3D computer-aided design program that allows us to create 3D models, add parts to those models, run simulations, and much more.
Thank you for joining us. Check us out on Facebook and YouTube at STARBASE Edwards.
And on Instagram at starbase.edwards.
Welcome to STARBASE!
Today we had Orange Flag going on, which is an instrumented test exercise here at Edwards that takes in joint players from Navy China Lake, Edwards Air Force Base, and then all across the country from a variety of players. We brought that here to STARBASE, where they have a STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math focused training with a bunch of elementary students. And so we brought Orange Flag and STARBASE together to get kids interested in science, teach them about teamwork and test, and how we have to work together as a team in order to make our experiments happen. We got all of our STARBASE students on a radio, on a portable radio with our airborne aircraft, and we attempted to have them fly over top of us and provide a sonic boom that we timed before it hit the ground.
They also learned about coordinates today, which coincides with a fly on the ceiling lesson that we do, where it's basically like battleship, and they learn about ordered pairs and longitude and latitude. They learn about how to take down our ships or our planes. The students really learn best when they're working with experts and they're working with people that are actually in the field. They're talking to them, they're seeing, oh, maybe this is a field that I want to go into.
left wind 210 at 12, quick takeoff. 73, perfect to go.
I'm Captain Nate Moyer. I'm an experimental test pilot with the 418th Flight Test Squadron here at Edwards Air Force Base, and I fly the KC-46. The 418th Flight Test Squadron is responsible for the KC-135, the KC-10, the KC-46, the C-17, and the C-5 aircraft. Additionally, we consult on the E-11 Bacon aircraft and the VC-25B, which is the Air Force One replacement that's currently in design. The 418th is unique here at Edwards because we handle so many different aircraft. We have 5 here that we're responsible for, and we consult on as many as 7 more. So our day-to-day life in the 418th includes test planning, safety planning, and then test reporting, in addition to actually flying those test sorties and collecting all the data we need. On days that we fly, we'll show up and we'll brief about 2 hours before we actually want to take off, and then we'll spend anywhere from 2 to 10 hours in the air actually conducting test flights. We also consult with a lot of foreign partners. So we've sent people to Japan and Denmark and Australia recently. Anytime a foreign partner wants to do any kind of receiver certification with any US Air Force aircraft, they come to us, and the 418th is responsible for all of that receiver certification.
Hey, I'm Staff Sergeant Andrew Miller. I'm a test boom operator here at the 418th at Edwards. My job is to fly the new experimental tankers. We've gone from the KC-135, which is cables and pulleys, very simple, reliable. The KC-10 is upgraded that, fly-by-wire, and the KC-46 is now fly-by-wire and it has a remote vision system. So we now sit up front with the pilots. We don't sit in the back in the boom pod. Another primary mission of the 418th Flight Test Squadron is airlift and airdrop. Behind me is the C-17. They're working all the time to do some really exciting stuff. Every day is unique. Every time we step to the jet, we're doing something either for the first time or a new configuration. We work really closely with flight test engineers and test pilots to ensure the test is adequate and proving that these things will work for the warfighter when the day comes. What we do certainly isn't easy, and the satisfaction of getting the job done and delivering the final airplane to the Air Force is uniquely satisfying.
The now combat-capable F-35 has emerged from over 9,000 developmental test flights, 16,000 flight test hours, and 65,000 test points. I'm Doc Nelson. Out of my 6,000 flight hours, 1,100 of them are in the F-35. It's been my privilege to watch that airplane mature over the last several years from just a concept into a combat-capable machine with really advanced features, something that satisfies every customer. The F-35 was developed with 3 U.S. services in mind and 9 partner countries. The airplane was tuned for each service and country's specific needs, and yet it's so common that training is simplified because a checkout for a pilot in one variant of the airplane is a checkout in all 3 variants. In developmental flight testing, we've been to every corner of the envelope in the F-35. Altitude, Mach number, G, angle of attack. We've put the airplane out of control intentionally several times. It recovers every time. the most impressive thing about it is something you'll never see at an air show, and that's its stealth. It's a lot easier to fight somebody who doesn't see you coming. One of the most memorable things about F-35 mission systems testing was times when we'd take off at midnight, in the middle of the night in pitch darkness, and employ with equal effectiveness as we did in the daytime. That was all due to the impressive sensor suite in the airplane, as well as the two forms of night vision that are incorporated into the F-35 helmet, and the large color displays that help funnel all the information that the airplane knows into the pilot's mind. The results are a fifth-generation combat-capable aircraft with unprecedented features that will shape and define our future battlefields. We now have a combat capability that we've never had before, and that's putting a squadron of stealthy airplanes on an aircraft carrier that can be anywhere in the world. Having a fifth-generation fighter launching from carrier decks and safely recovering secured a capability for the Navy and Marines to perform vital wartime operations aboard maritime vessels. These sea trials contributed directly to the U.S. Marine Corps declaration of initial operational capability for the F-35B in 2015. Watching safely from remote cameras, I remember watching the first 2,000-pound JDAM dropped on a live target, which went directly through the center connects in the target complex. In 2016, the U.S. Air Force would declare initial operational capability with the F-35A after an intensive weapons surge, releasing 30 guided weapons in only 31 days.